Today, let us study about the teaching of our Lord Buddha. Buddha loke samupano hidaya savapanina. Meaning, Buddha appeared on earth for the advancement of the welfare of all humans, devas, that is, celestial beings or shining ones, and Brahmas, the pure or chaste ones. It is very rare for a Buddha to appear on earth. There are more kappas. Paliwa kappa means world cycles, in which Buddhas do not appear, than kappas in which they appear. Among the kappas or world cycles in which Buddhas appear, there are those in which only one Buddha appears, and those in which 2, 3 or 4 Buddhas appear. Our present kappa or world cycle is one in which a maximum of 5 Buddhas appear. Out of the 5, 4 Buddhas have already arisen, including our Lord Buddha Gautama. So, one remaining. The 5th one is the Buddha Hermitage, who will appear only after the lapse of aeons or years. English word aeons means innumerable, maybe millions of years. That is after the disappearance of our present Gautama Buddha's sadhana or dispensation. The dispensations of the Buddhas who had formerly appeared on earth also disappear from the world after hundreds of thousands or tens of hundreds of thousands of years after their entry into Parinibbana, meaning final release from the wrong of rebirth and death. The periods of time in which the Buddha's dispensation lasted are few and far between. According to the commentaries, the present sadhana or teaching of Buddha, Lord Gautama Buddha, will last only for 5,000 years before its disappearance from the world. It is now already over 2,500 years after the Buddha's entry into Parinibbana. Even now, the number of people in the world who respect and accept the true dispensation or the teaching of the Buddha has already dwindled. The disappearance of this sadhana or teaching in another over 2,500 years is already approaching. Gautama Buddha appeared on earth over 2,500 years ago. Previously to that, for many millions of years, nobody had a chance to listen to the true teaching of the Buddha, to know it and to practice it. People of those times were generally lacking in good karma, that is meritorious deeds, and very few of them attained good, noble and happy abodes of existences. With the appearance of the Buddha on earth, the true Dharma, meaning the law or the teaching, was preached. Listening to this teaching, many people in the Buddha's time practiced it and performed meritorious deeds like dana or generosity, sila or morality, bhavana or meditation. And they prospered and were reborn in the Deva world. Millions also became arahants or noble persons, and they attained Nibbana. The Buddha's true teaching is Savapapasa Akarana, Kusalasa Upasamada, Sachaita Priyodavanam Edam Bodhana Sasana. Meaning, 1. To abstain from all evil. Evil means unwholesome deeds. 2. Do all good deeds or wholesome deeds. Then 3. purify one's mind. These three admonishments are the essence of the teachings of all the Buddhas. Then what are these wholesome or unwholesome acts? We act bodily by body, and Pali called kaya kama, bodily actions. Even these mean by committing by bodily action, one, killing or harming other living beings. Two, unlawfully or unethically taking other people's property, like by theft or robbery. Then three, indulging in sensual misconduct. These three are the evil or unwholesome deeds that should always be avoided. Then akusala vachikama, unwholesome verbal actions are one, speaking lies to the detriment of others. Two, slandering, like sowing discord between friendly persons or associates by means of tale-bearing. Then three, using harsh and abusive language. Then four, frivolous talks or speaking of untruths as if they were truths. These four kinds of speech are unwholesome verbal acts that should always be avoided. Then unwholesome livelihood, mecha ajiva, acting or speaking with a view to unlawful gain, meaning acquisition of properties, constitutes unwholesome livelihood which should always be avoided. Respectful observance of the five moral precepts is tantamount to obeying the Buddha's injunction to abstain from all evil deeds and to live the good holy life. Then what are the kusala karma or wholesome acts? Briefly, kusala or wholesome acts consist of dana or generosity, sila or morality, and bhavana or meditation or development of the mind by way of concentration and insight. Of these, dana or generosity is appreciated by almost every Buddhist. Buddhists are dispensing charity as much as they can. They earn praise thereby as well as freedom from censure. The recipients of their generosity come to respect and like them and to help them as best they can. They will be reborn in the good and noble abodes of existence and prosper there in every respect. Then moral wholesomeness or sila kusala. By sila is meant taking refuge in three gems of the Buddhist faith, that is the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. An observance of such moral rules of conduct as the 8 precepts. Buddhists declare their faith in and reliance on the 3 refuges and observe the 5 and other precepts. As a result, they are safeguarded against future rebirth and the lower realms of woeful states, like hell or as animals, hungry ghouls and asurakayas. Instead, they are reborn in the noble human and deva realms where they go on prospering. Then the next is bhavana kusala, meaning meritorious deed through mental culture or training. Buddhist mind training or culture is of 2 kinds. One is samatha bhavana or tranquility or concentration meditation, and another is vipassana bhavana or insight meditation. There is also a third kind of bhavana which is known as Ariya Mega Bhavana, meaning mind training leading to the supramundane path. Samatha Bhavana or tranquility meditation includes 10 kinds of kasina or concentration device, 10 kinds of asubha or impurities, and 10 kinds of anusati or contemplations, and 10 others. 10 others are 4 aropa, 4 brahmavihara, 1 ahare patikula sanya, and 1 chatuta duvavatana. So together 40 methods of this tranquility or concentration meditation. Among these 40 subjects of Samatha Bhavana or tranquility meditation, Buddhanosati means contemplation and veneration of Buddha's virtues, such as the virtue of Arahant, worthiness of reverence by humans, devas and brahmas. By contemplating that as the Buddha was imbued with the lofty and elevated virtues of sila or morality, samadhi or concentration, and panya or wisdom, reverence in would bring rebirth and the good and noble realms of existence and well-being there. Also, by contemplating that the Buddha is worthy of such reverence and veneration by his possessions of Arahant virtue. Another virtue possessed by the Buddha, that of being a supremely enlightened Buddha, is his unaided realization of the Four Noble Truths. These virtues also entitle the Buddha to special veneration. Because of his unaided omniscience and teaching, what he knew to all beings with a view to their liberation from samsaric suffering, he was also endowed with the virtue of Buddhahood. This fact should also be contemplated. Buddhanosati Bhavana may also be practiced by thinking of the Buddha's other virtues. For Buddhists, every time they respect and venerate the Buddha, they are practicing Buddhanosati. Next, the Buddha's teachings are the result of his own practice and experience, which he faithfully transmitted to his disciples. If they are reverently and rightly practiced, they can lead to extraordinary insights. Every time one reflects on the extraordinary virtues of the Buddha's teaching and reposes one's trust in them, one is cultivating wholesome act of karma, that is action in the form of Dhammanosati. The next is Sanghanosati, respectfully contemplating the good and noble virtues well practiced by the disciples of the Buddha is tantamount to cultivating Sanghanosati Bhavana. Then, cultivation of Metta Bhavana or loving kindness meditation. In the same way as one desires to be free from suffering and to be at ease, all other beings also want to be the same. Cultivating Metta Bhavana is wishing from the heart happiness to particular individuals or the generality of individuals, inclusive of humans, devas, and all beings. Cultivating as much as possible such bhavana as Buddhanosati and Metta Bhavana amounts to acting in conformity with the Buddha's exhortation to live by, to be, fulfill the merit of good deeds. Then Vipassana Kusala or gaining merit through insight meditation. Vipassana Kusala means gaining of merit by constantly meditating on the impermanent, unsatisfactory and impersonal nature of psychophysical phenomena of one's own person as well as of other people's persons. This kind of meditation accords with the Buddha's own practice directed towards realization of transient nature of the body-mind complex that is arising and passing away of, that is called upadana khanda, the aggregates that are object of clinging. When this merit ripens, there arises Ariya Mega Bhavana Kusala merit, which enables realization and experience of Nibbana. As for the exhortation, one should purify one's mind. After the realization of Nibbana through the four Ariya Megas, meaning the four stages of the noble paths, Buddha enjoined the cultivation of the four Aryan Phalas, or the four noble fruitions. What I have said about is a summary of how the Buddha's teaching should be reverently practiced. By such practice, one can obtain the happiness that one seeks. This is how the noble planes of human and deva existences may be reached with attendant great happiness and Nibbana, attained with the ending of suffering and with lasting happiness. It will also conduce to the long endurance of the Buddha sadhana or dispensation, and to the happiness of those around one, similar to one's own happiness. Vipassana Bhavana or insight meditation is what our meditators here are doing. So you all are familiar with the technique and we don't need to elaborate so much. Vipassana is the noting of the arising and passing away of psychophysical phenomena, so that one may come to know them as they really are. Every time one sees, hears, touches, or knows, these phenomena are constantly appearing and disappearing. It is important that we note them and be aware of them every time they arise and pass away. All these acts of noting are cultivation of vipassana kusala, or insight meritorious deed, in accordance with the Buddha's teaching. As samadhi or concentrative power strengthens while going on noting thus, one can come to know mind and matter distinctly and the causal relationship between them. One comes to see for oneself these psychophysical phenomena constant arising and passing away. That is their nature or impermanent characteristic. In the process, one develops progressive vipassana insights, eventually experiencing Nibbana with Mega and Phala jnanas, knowledge of the path and its fruition. To conclude, may all meditators be able to practice this vipassana bhavana or insight meditation with as much vigor as one can and quickly attain Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Let us stop for the night. Idame punya Nibbana sa pacayo hotu. Idame punya Nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyatayo Imano punya bhaga Sabha satana Tema Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be happy. May you all be healthy. May you all be free from suffering. May you all attain eternal peace or Nibbana in the shortest possible time.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.